While Tesla was grabbing headlines and startups were promising a battery-powered utopia, Toyota was silent. No flashy announcements, no Cybertrucks, just a quiet, stubborn refusal to jump into the EV hype. But now, that silence is starting to sound like a war drum. Because while everyone else was racing to build electric cars nobody can afford, Toyota was planning something very different and very dangerous to the electric dream. And here's the scary part. It might actually work. For the past 5 years, EVs have been sold to us as the only future that matters. Gas is dead. Batteries will get cheaper. Charging networks will catch up. Except they didn't. EV prices stayed high. Charging stations, still unreliable. Range anxiety, still very real. And affordability, completely out the window. Today, the average new EV in America costs over $55,000. Most Americans can't, and won't, pay that. Meanwhile, used EVs are crashing in value, and automakers are bleeding billions trying to force this green revolution down people's throats. And then there's Toyota. While Ford was setting money on fire with the F-150 Lightning, and GM was pulling the plug on the Bolt, Toyota just kept building hybrid, reliable, simple, proven. And the media hated them for it. Toyota is behind the curve. They're stuck in the past. They'll regret it. Except now, those same critics are starting to panic because Toyota's slow, methodical approach is starting to look less like failure and more like a master plan. Here's what Toyota did. Instead of chasing full EVs, they doubled down on hybrids and plug-in hybrids. They quietly refined battery tech without going all in. They scaled up manufacturing without taking on massive debt. And they watched as Ford, GM, Rivian, and Lucid burned billions. Trying to electrify a market that wasn't ready, Toyota focused on what actually sells: affordable, efficient, familiar. You see, the average American doesn't want to rethink how they drive. They just want something that works without costing a fortune. And guess what? That's exactly what a hybrid does. Here's the twist, and this is why dealers love Toyota right now. Toyota's latest hybrids aren't like the old Priuses of the early 2000s. They're fast, efficient, and they feel like regular cars. In fact, many drivers don't even realize they're driving a hybrid until they see how rarely they visit the gas station. And dealers, they love selling hybrids because they don't sit on lots. Because unlike EVs, they don't need explanations, apps, home chargers, or disclaimers. So what if I told you this was never about being green? What if Toyota never cared about the climate narrative, but only about surviving the crash? Because that crash is here. Everyone thought EVs were the future. But now, they're becoming a problem. The very companies that went all in on electric cars, Ford, GM, Volkswagen, are quietly slamming the brakes. Production targets are being slashed. Battery plants are delayed. Entire EV lineups are being reconsidered. Why? Because demand is collapsing. Ford lost over $4.7 billion last year on its EV division. GM had to kill the Bolt, its only affordable EV. Volkswagen is sitting on unsold ID.4s. And Rivian, burning cash faster than it can build trucks. The truth is simple. EVs are not profitable, not yet, and maybe not ever. The EV market was supposed to explode. Instead, it plateaued, hard. And while everyone else is panicking, Toyota is surging. Their hybrid sales up 35% year over year. Their profit margins among the highest in the industry. Their dealership network thriving. Why? Because Toyota never bet the farm. They hedged, they waited, and they watched. While other automakers bet everything on a battery-powered future, Toyota quietly invested in multiple technologies: hybrids, plug-in hybrids, hydrogen fuel cells, solid-state batteries, and now they have options. While Ford and GM have none, Here's the dirty secret the industry won't tell you. Dealers don't want to sell EVs. They hate them. Why? Because EVs are hard to explain. They require new infrastructure. They need constant software updates. And worst of all, they're not making money on them. Hybrids, on the other hand, they sell themselves. No range anxiety, no waiting for a charge, no new habits, just better gas mileage and fewer visits to the pump. Toyota's entire strategy is based on this one idea. Make change feel familiar. Don't reinvent the car, just make it better. And it's working. While Tesla owners worry about chargers and battery degradation, Toyota drivers are just driving. No drama, no apps, no Twitter fights, just cars that work. And now? Even Ford and GM are trying to copy them. Ford recently announced it's bringing back hybrids in a big way. GM is suddenly interested in plug-in hybrids again. Even the Biden administration is softening its EV mandates because reality is starting to bite. And Toyota? They're smiling. They didn't chase trends. They didn't burn billions. They stayed in their lane. And now the lane is clear. Everyone else is backpedaling. Toyota is accelerating. Let's talk numbers. Because at the end of the day, strategy means nothing if it doesn't pay off. And Toyota? They're not just winning, they're cashing in. In 2024, while companies like Ford and GM were announcing layoffs, Toyota posted record profits. Their operating income jumped by more than 80% year over year. Why? Because their hybrids are flying off the lots. The average Toyota hybrid spends just 11 days at a dealership before it's sold. Compare that to EVs from Ford or GM, which are sitting for over 60 days in some markets, collecting dust and draining cash. But it's not just about speed, it's about margin. Hybrids are cheaper to build than EVs. They don't need massive battery packs. They use existing platforms. And they avoid the supply chain nightmares that have crippled other automakers. In simple terms, Toyota makes money every time they sell a hybrid. Ford and GM lose money almost every time they sell an EV. Dealers see it too. Walk into a Toyota dealership today and they'll push you straight into a hybrid. Because it's easy to sell, it's easy to explain, and it doesn't come with the headaches. No charging networks. No cold weather performance complaints, no waiting lists for repairs. Just a normal-looking car with better mileage and fewer problems. Here's what one dealer said in a leaked interview. "We're done pushing EVs. Customers don't want them. Toyota figured it out. Hybrids are what people actually buy." And the market agrees. In Q1 2025, hybrid sales in the US jumped by over 50%. EV sales, flat, even declining in some regions. Even Tesla, the king of EVs, is feeling the squeeze. Price cuts, layoffs, missed delivery targets. It's no longer a smooth ride. Meanwhile, Toyota is scaling up hybrid production, opening new plants, and expanding aggressively in North America. They're not just reacting, they're moving before the collapse. Because Toyota understands something the others forgot. The market doesn't care about ideology, it cares about what works. And right now, what works is hybrids. You can hear the panic in boardrooms across Detroit. You can feel it in the headlines. One minute they were preaching about the electric future, the next, they're begging Washington for more subsidies. But Toyota doesn't need a bailout. They just need gas prices to stay over $3 a gallon. And guess what? That's not going away anytime soon. So now, while everyone else is trying to pivot back to hybrids, Toyota is already there, 10 years ahead. Toyota isn't just playing defense, they're planning a full-scale takeover. While Western automakers were obsessed with building the future in Silicon Valley style, Toyota was focused on something else, global dominance, one step at a time. You see, hybrids weren't just a short-term move, they were a bridge to something bigger. And Toyota's been building what comes next in the shadows. Let's talk solid-state batteries. While Ford and GM were chasing lithium dreams, Toyota was quietly developing next-gen battery tech that could change everything. Lighter, faster to charge, longer range, and most importantly, safer and cheaper than anything on the market today. In late 2024, Toyota revealed working prototypes of their solid-state battery platform, and according to insiders, they're aiming for commercial rollout as early as 2027. That's 3 years from now. If that happens, Toyota won't just win the hybrid war, they'll dominate the EV world too, on their own terms. While everyone else was rushing to market with flawed, expensive products, Toyota waited, perfected, refined, because they weren't interested in being first. They were interested in being last, the last company standing. But it goes beyond technology. Toyota's global supply chain is rock solid. Their plants in North America, Asia, and Europe are already hybrid optimized. They've secured battery materials, streamlined logistics, and trained their workforce years ahead of competitors. Meanwhile, Western automakers are laying off workers, closing factories, and begging for government help. Toyota? They're building. And here's where it gets scary for the rest of the industry. Toyota's strategy isn't just about surviving this transition, it's about outlasting everyone. They're not chasing stock price hype, they're not burning cash to look innovative. They're quietly, efficiently, methodically winning. And the American car market is waking up to it. Consumers want hybrids, dealers want hybrids, and Toyota is the only one who saw it coming. So here's the truth no one wants to admit. The EV revolution. It might not be a revolution at all. It might just be a phase, a detour, a costly, overhyped mistake that only Toyota managed to avoid. While the rest of the industry was gambling, Toyota was preparing. And now, they're ready to take everything.